Alright. Alright. A.N.THROPOS here with another exciting episode of You Don't Know. You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do. Because then something bad might happen to you. And I'm talking to you. Oh! Alright, we've got a fun and fact-filled show for you this evening. I'm going to bring you up to date on a couple of things. We're going to talk about Randy Maugans Show that I'm going to be on 2 days from now on Wednesday. I'm going to be on Randy Maugans Show. Actually, the show might not come out on Wednesday. Just stay tuned. I'll keep you all advised about that. Let you know a couple things going on in my personal life. I've got a new friend. I don't often do this. As a matter of fact, I never do this. But if you will look at the screen right now, somehow this young lady has likes me, I guess. And anyway, this is my new friend. Oh shit! Now she's a rich lady living here in Austin, and I don't know what's up with that. Don't know what's up with that. Some people on Facebook were like, how did you manage that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't have any fucking idea. We'll just chalk it up to dumb luck. Dumb luck, that's it. Oh, that's it. Got your dumb luck here. Dime a dozen, huh? I beat the shit out of bad luck. That's what I used to have back in the day. You know, young man, much better looking than I am now, and had some bad luck. I was brought on by myself. Indiscretions of our youth. That's what they sometimes call it. This right here. Check this out. $400 bottle of tequila. Can you imagine? And no, I do not buy $400 bottles of tequila. I came about that somehow. I'm not sure that I knew there was such thing as a $400 bottle of tequila, but let me tell you, it's a very tasty bottle of tequila. And so here's how we start the show right here. Here we go. Ooh. Woo! Ooh, that's good. So anyway, there was a video that I put out last week, somewhat controversial. I believe it's called Truther Community. This is the video you're looking for. And it was a video I didn't really relish putting out. It's quite a diversion from my normal videos that I put out, which are full of fun, fact-filled information and compelling, and I interview compelling authors and experiencers, and of course I myself am an author and an experiencer. But this video that I'm mentioning, it was released under a different name that had the young ladies' names in it, and I got about 350 views. And anyway, I redid it, put some edited it a little bit more and changed the title, most importantly, to where it didn't have these people's names in it. It's essentially a video calling out some people in the truther community that are doing harm to the truther community. And so that's what it is. This is, I think, not the first video I've done like this. I think it's the second. Well, if you include the Maria Colley video, I guess it's really the third. And so I'm not trying to specialize in this. It's just when somebody comes on my radar that's doing harm to the truther community, and I'm not talking about that I don't believe their story. If you got a story that I don't believe, you ain't got to worry about me, you know, trying to debunk your story or say this person's lying, that person's lying, or anything like that. That ain't my game. It's just these two ladies, and I'm talking about who I will from now on, here on out, refer to as S.A. and T.J., you know, for a lot of reasons. You know, I don't even want to get into it. If you want to hear what the deal was, go to the controversial video, the Truther Community. This is the video you're looking for, okay? Well, anyway, not that he needs defending in any way, because he is one of the only verifiable super soldiers and badasses, although I know that he doesn't not personally like that title of super soldier, and I can't blame him for that. But we're talking about somebody who is really was in these programs and was, you know, conditioned somehow and enhanced somehow. I'm going to get more on that story from him on Wednesday. But it's the man who hosts Off-Planet Radio, and he's somebody that I've you know, been watching for a number of years. He's someone that I admire, and his name is Randy Maugans. And so anyway, he was caught up in this whole affair of you know, S.A. or especially T.J., not necessarily S.A., but T.J. Trying to vilify people that were good people that are in our community, to do a lot of hard work to get out information to the public, and they were maligned unfairly and untruthfully, and that's what pissed me off. And these allegations that T.J. had were proven false over a year ago, yet she continues to make these same allegations. And let me say this, because I did not say this on the video the other day. This is very important. Have you ever been called a motherfucker? Have you ever called anyone a motherfucker? Okay, let me tell you, I've been called a motherfucker plenty of times. I've called other people a motherfucker plenty of times, okay? And so I think everybody has, except for maybe, you know, 2% of society. If you're one of these, you know, nice people that's had enough morals and restraint and everything to never use these words, well, more power to you. And this next statement, the point I'm trying to make, just, you know, leave the room or something like that, okay? This is about the 98% of the rest of the population that has in fact called somebody a motherfucker, or has in fact been called a motherfucker themselves. Here's the point I'm trying to make. If you call somebody a motherfucker, or if somebody calls you a motherfucker, are they actually implying that you had sex with your mother? No, they're not. It's just a bad word. Now, of course, we can see, you know, the origins of it, and then the insult would be if somebody, you know, was involved with an incestuous relationship with their mother, then they would be a motherfucker, and this would be a title that would be, you know, bring shame upon them and everything like this. We can see that this is the origins of the name calling of the bad word motherfucker. But the truth is, if somebody's a thief or lying, or they're stealing from you, or they've, you know, they cut you off in traffic, or anything like this, you call them a motherfucker because it's a bad word. It never really, you know, if they heard you call them that to their face, they're not going to sit there and think that you're actually implying that they had sex with their mother. That's not what it is. It's just a bad, in other words, a bad word that means something has transcended that meaning and become commonplace, and in a way had all the meaning taken out of it. So this is a very valid point I'm trying to make here. Please stay with me. T.J., Terry Joyce, is actively accusing a whole slew of people of being pedophiles. Okay? A pedophile is somebody who fucks kids. Okay? It's the most reprehensible, you know, satanic thing imaginable. It's so far outside of the human consciousness of the normal human being, and so it's such an affront to humanity that it's just despicable, and it's considered the very lowest, you know, actions of humanity. It's beyond. It's just the worst degradation. It's the worst thing that you could call somebody. But let's take a look at what Terry Joyce is doing. She's calling all these people pedophiles. What she's really doing on the cool, and I know that she knows that she's doing this, she's taking the fire out of pedophilia. She's normalizing the accusation of pedophilia. She's turning it into like motherfucker. Like you just, if you're mad, if somebody calls you, cuts you off in traffic, that's a pedophile, whatever, pedophile. Well, what does that do? It takes focus off of the crime of pedophilia. It takes focus off of the horrific crime against humanity and crime against the cosmos that pedophilia is. And don't you see that that plays right into the hands of evildoers? So Terry Joyce's, not only is she accusing people of this terrible thing, which they're not guilty of, she is normalizing this phrase. She is taking the meaning out of it and meaning to where it's just no big deal. I mean, if you don't like the lady in front of you at the grocery store, oh well, she's a pedophile, right? I have every expectation of her and SA, calling me a pedophile and saying that I have porno channels, But I have been advised by several people that no, they're not going to do that. At this point, their credibility is so shot. Probably the last thing they're going to do is attack me. I don't know. I'm prepared for the attack. SA contacted me personally. This is the first time I've ever been in contact with this woman. And she had maybe done a little bit of looking around on the internet and everything like that since she made some discoveries, and that is that my situation has changed, and I am a force to be reckoned with. And in other words, I found out in pretty short order that she is afraid, or leery, whatever you want to call it, wary of people with resources. Apparently she's bullying several people in several different ways with lawsuits and stuff like this, or threats of lawsuits. Anyway, I'm just not concerned about that. First of all, I know the law better than she does. I know the law better than her little gay ass boyfriend. And I see that I've got a new subscriber to my YouTube channel called Investigate this, homeboy, huh? What's up? Ooh, you gonna do an investigation? Let me find out. Folks, let me tell you something that a lot of y'all don't know. Y'all know me as an author. You know me as a real estate investor here in the most beautiful city in the world, Austin, Texas. Okay, we love this city right here, huh? Oh, we love it. And some of you know, not everybody knows, that I am actually one of the region's top experts, security camera experts in this area. And that's just the truth. I've done numerous contracts for the government, for different, I've done contracts for the U.S. Department of Labor, having to do with their Gary Job Corps over here in Santa Marcos. This is where they take troubled kids who have come from broken homes, and it's a real good program. They teach them trades that are good money-making trades, like welding and being a nurse and janitorial service and different stuff like this. It's a really good program, and I designed and implemented and installed and managed for a while their campus-wide megapixel resolution wireless pro radio security camera system, and also a couple of local systems that they had, meaning local to that one building. And so it was a joy working for them. I've done work for the Mexican government when the when the Mexican consulate right here in Austin got right. Where were we here? We're not talking about investigations because I don't do investigations, because I'm not a licensed investigator in the state of Texas. Oh shit! Boy, you just think this was just cheap old tequila the way I'm throwing it around here, huh? $400 a bottle. You can believe that shit? Way. But anyway, I found out. You know what I mean? I found out, and the way common wisdom or the common knowledge somebody would think that it goes with these, especially with these jobs for like governments and stuff like this, or maybe even big corporations, you know, you catch the bad guy on hidden camera, whatever. You turn in the tapes to Detective Joe Friday or, Dano, book him, Dano. It don't work like that. 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, it don't work like that. And the people don't go to jail. Well, why don't they go to jail? I mean, you got the proof, you got them dead to rights and all this shit. It's because the money people, what they're wanting is for it to stop. They're wanting the theft against them, the $70,000 they lost from valets over the last, ripping them off over the last year or whatever. This, that, the other. They're wanting it to stop. They're wanting to go back to business as usual. And on top of that, they're not wanting to involve the police. The government doesn't want to involve the police. The corporations don't want to involve the police. The small businesses and big business and the extremely wealthy individuals don't want to involve the police. No one wants to involve the police. And can you blame them? I mean, what happens when you call the cops? 9 times out of 10, you go to jail. You know what I mean? They don't, just because you call the cops, they ain't going to respect that. 9 times out of 10, the person who calls the cops is the one who ends up going to jail. So, that's welcome to the police state. Any good police officers out there listening, I apologize. If you're a good police officer, that's fine. I've been told personally by an ex-cop that there are no good police officers. Because if they were good, they would have to quit, or they would make them quit, because if they were good, they wouldn't do something bad. But they're going to make them do something bad, so that makes them bad, or they don't do it, then they get fired. You know what I mean? So they make good people do bad things, and therefore basically turn them into being complacent with, and then turn them into bad cops. They don't want good cops. They want bad cops, and that's what they got. And so I'm not a big, I'm not going to say I don't respect. I respect the law, and I respect the police officers, and I always, I rarely speak with any, but I always, cooperate. Because I don't want to get shot, for one thing. And, we've all seen these. Anyway, I don't want to get off the subject. I'm basically, what I'm trying to say is, I know a little bit about these investigations. We have this old saying, back into a place where I used to live for years, doing a hard time. Let me find out. Let me find out, huh? Ooh, let me find out. And that means, you better not let me find out, huh? Okay, then one more thing. Anybody who's been watching my show for a while knows that I am an ex-con. I've done time in the state of Texas twice on what some people lovingly refer to as a 2-time loser. Although I don't refer to myself as that, and I ain't a fucking loser, huh? I'm just not. I don't get down like that. I am what I am, huh? But if you think about it, how this helped me in my because I'd already been out of prison for years, and for good. When I started doing my security camera work, and so you think, oh wait, they're not going to hire an ex-con, to do their security camera work. Well, that may be true in a lot of situations, but let's just take the Mexican consulate, for example. How did I get the job with them? How much did they look into it? I don't know. But the thing is, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. I do a Google search or whatever. Find out that I got a rap sheet due to the indiscretions of my youth. I've been locked up in the penitentiary. I've done my time. I don't have guilt about this. I'm not proud of it. I'm not ashamed of it. It's just a fact. It's part of my narrative. It's the truth. Well, the Mexican consulate, they don't want any CIA agents over there getting off in their business. They don't want any government spooks, ex-cops, anything like that. They don't want that. They're a foreign government. They're suspicious at the least of our government. I mean, look what we're practically murdering them over there. You know what I mean? And but they are our neighbors, and they have to exist with us and stuff like this. And so yeah, obviously I don't have any affiliations with any agencies. Obviously, I'm not, a police officer or anything like this. So yeah, and I'm what they call a boardroom killer. I literally used to be, one of the worst salesmen in the world. I'm sure I was just terrible. But after I got a few victories or sales under my belt or whatever, I became better at it, and not due to me being any type of naturally born super salesman or anything. It was really the security camera industry was coming of age at a certain time where the technology was moving by leaps and bounds. Right at the time that I was getting into it, of course, I saw this. I saw it coming, and I got in. I rode the gravy train, and that, and the fact that I had a really kick-ass website. Uh, there's just a lot of things that go into that. How I ended up being one of the top security camera experts in this region to this day. And so, I ain't just about no joke, huh? And these little girls who gonna try to threaten to sue me, this and that and the other. Go right ahead, go right ahead. Bring your frivolous lawsuit to the state of Texas and see how quick you get slam dunked, huh? By my dream team, huh? My dream team. He's the head dude of my dream team, of my legal team. Other attorneys just hear his name and they shit their pants, man. This dude ain't no joke, huh? And then I got an advocate. I got the whole 9 yards, huh? Private investigator, all that shit. So come fuck around if you want to play a game, huh? Come fuck around. So this leads me to the next subject, which is due to this video that I released last week. The Truther community. This is the video. This is the video that you want to see. This is the video that you want. This is the video that you want. I was approached a few days ago, I think about 4 days ago, by a group of people. That is one of the things I'm going to tell you here. I was approached by a group of people, basically as a result of this video I did exposing TJ and SA. And these people also had copies of this, of another lady I exposed or whatever. Her name escapes me right now. She's a real piece of work. I mean, this lady's straight trash. And she had put down some friends of mine, maliciously, and with this whole pedophile accusation. We're seeing that just the trash of society uses this, and that's what pisses me off, that they're using this allegation, because it takes energy and reality off of the real accusations. They're practically helping these crimes go along, and that's what it really pisses me off. But anyway, these people approached me because they have been looking at somebody who has been doing a lot of harm in the truther community. Someone that you have probably heard about if you've been in the truther community for very long. And I understand she's changed her name now. And she's changed her name now. And Erin Hicks Rothschild, I'm coming for you, lady. I'm coming for you. And when I find you, what am I going to do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You have nothing to fear from me. I'm just going to shame you and just let everybody know what you've been doing. This lady here in Texas that put you and your lesbian lover up out of the kindness of her heart, believing your lies that you are a Rothschild, and you're not. And as that's already been proven, Erin Hicks Rothschild is not a Rothschild, never been a Rothschild. I mean, I don't know who would want to say they're a Rothschild, but anyway, she was. And apparently she found a little con game or something like this to make money doing this. Going around saying she's Erin Hicks Rothschild and somehow getting on some of these super soldier, conferences. I don't know if it was with Lori Felton or Lori, I can't remember her name, but anyway, she's done a couple of these conferences. And they've gone around, they're kind of vagabonds, her and her lesbian lover lady. And let me tell you, her lover, and her name escapes me right now.
This woman is so trashy, you wouldn't believe it, man. I mean, she is just a piece of work. We have this one video, I think, defending Miles Johnston, who had been accused of this by this trashy lady, and so had one of my psychics, whose name I'm not going to mention, for reasons of anonymity. I mean, this crazy lady was on here saying that she had kidnapped John Podesta. And they, she's saying all this stuff. And I mean, she was just like relishing in this huge lie she was just making up right on the spot. And yes, of course, it turns out she was throwing in Erin Hicks' name too, because that's her ticket. She, rides on the coattails of Erin Hicks Rothschild, who's apparently going by some different name now. But anyway, since she started going by a different name, and now she has a new gig, a new scam or con. And anyway, they took advantage of a lady here in Texas. The lady bought them airplane tickets to come down there and live with her in her home, which they did, and they overstayed their welcome, and they overstayed their welcome, and they overstayed their welcome, and did all kinds of other horrific stuff. And so the lady finally got them to leave, or forced them to leave. Somehow she got the leeches to leave. And so they promptly turned around and thanked her for all her kindness by accusing her of what? What did she accuse her of? Being a pedophile, of course. Yes. You just, if you're jealous of somebody, if you don't like somebody, they're a pedophile. You know what I mean? That's what these trash types apparently that are anathema or scab upon our community are doing. And that's why I intend to do something about it. I'm not here to expose people that are telling a lie about their truther movement, or they're a disinformationalist or something like this. All you disinformationalists or people who are just fantasizing or dreaming about that you've been in this or that, you have nothing to fear from me. I'm not out here to expose you. Only the people who are disinformationalists, in the sense that they are destroying or attempting to destroy the reputation of good people in the truther community, either that and or targeting people in the truther community for their petty crimes, their little con games and shit like that, like what SA does, just charging somebody $100 or $250 for a fake ass, psychic reading, and then not even delivering that. I mean, come on, man, come on, just petty crime, it's taking advantage of, maybe some of these people were gullible, or they just believed what they heard on these videos and stuff. And it's not all true. All these things that we're hearing, are not true. Not all conspiracies are real. And the people that are giving us these stories, these compelling authors and experiences, or especially the compelling experiences, they're not all real. It's not all genuine, I'm sorry to say. But like I mentioned, I'm not here to police that. I'm not the new sheriff in town. But if you're maligning people with good names in this truther movement, or if you're ripping off people, targeting them because they're in the truther movement, and some other people, get evidence of this and present it to me, I am going to put myself out there. I am going to call you out. I am absolutely no threat to you, or no harm will ever come to you from me. Only the truth. I will expose you with the truth and show everybody what a dirty, rotten scoundrel you are, and what a piece of trash you are, huh? That's it. And I don't relish doing this, for reasons that I don't really want to go into, and I don't know. I can really only speculate some of these. I've kind of been called on by the community to do this, and let me tell you, I want to pass that job on to somebody else as quickly as I can, because I'm totally not about that. I want to be, kind of, fun-loving, intelligent, witty, charming guy or whatever, right? Maybe a little rough around the edges, but bringing the truth, man, of these paranormal happenings, like Ghostlight Road, or like weird Earth mysteries, like the elongated skulls, or the new hot topic in the truther community, which let me tell you, I've absolutely already swallowed this one, hook, line, and sinker. Yes, I'm a believer in the Tartarian Empire. The Tartarian Empire and the mud floods. This shit is absolutely real. absolutely real. You look at enough evidence of this, you will be convinced. There were more than one mud flood from the 1800s and maybe possibly the early 1900s. The world fair concept and the system of world fairs in the past that we've had here in the world were specifically to destroy ancient Atlantean type cities, of which San Francisco was one, of which Chicago was one. Let me tell you how mind-bending this reality is. And you just have to look at the evidence. You know, you're probably going to think I'm just a lunatic telling you this, because it's so outside of our understanding and outside of what we've been taught. And you know, we here in the community, we know everything we've been told is a lie. But I mean, when you hear about this Tartarian deal, you're going to shit a brick, okay? Let me tell you this. And we're having indications that the Empire State Building and the Manhattan Bridge were already here when the Pilgrims got here. When the Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock and got their ass saved by the Indians from starving to death, the Empire State Building was already here. And so was the Manhattan Bridge. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, huh? Same thing with San Francisco. And so what they do with these, I can't cover every aspect of the Tartarian Empire and the mud floods right here. There are many aspects of it that it comes together. Let me just say this. These buildings have been destroyed. They have been slated for destruction. And many of them were destroyed, but a portion of them were set aside. For instance, the Washington Monument, the capital of the United States, many large hotels in Europe, lots of buildings in San Francisco, Chicago, all your Gothic cathedrals in Europe and around the world that are similar. These buildings are now houses of worship, for Christianity in Europe and other things, mosques and stuff like that in other countries. That's not what they're built for. That is absolutely not what they're built for. These buildings are devices that serve a number of functions. And the chief one being their power stations. They're power stations for the collection and transmission of wireless electricity. Yes, you heard that correct. Wireless electricity, much like we hear of Tesla developed. Well, apparently he didn't develop it. He just rediscovered it. And so anyway, these, it just gets weirder and weirder. These buildings were inhabited apparently by giants. We know that giants are real. We know that Abraham Lincoln talked about giants in one of his most famous speeches when making a speech at Niagara Falls, referencing Niagara Falls and saying that the eyes of giants had, been here before us and seen these things. The whole subject of giants has been massively covered up in the United States, mostly due to the actions of the Smithsonian Institute, which is supposed to be an institute of learning, but it's really an institute of disinformation. And while my family did create the national security state, did create the NSA, did create the CIA, did create the FBI, and did create NASA, or my father's uncle did, my great uncle, the late congressional leader George Mahon, after he did all the big things that he did, he then retired, and guess what? Where he went to work? The board of directors for the Smithsonian. I mean, you can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up, and once again, I'm not condemning my great uncle. I just don't have enough information, and you don't want to accuse people that they're in your own family and of bad things. You don't want to do that. And, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's a saint either. I think he's a man that had some hard decisions to make. I think that we can fairly say that. William Cooper, arguably the greatest conspiracy theorist that ever lived, in his best book, or his most popular book, Behold a Pale Horse, accuses my great uncle personally of being the man who started the DUMB bases, D-U-M-B, Deep Underground Military Base, which are the alleged joint alien military, underground bases, a la Phil Schneider. I don't know. I've never been in an underground base, to my knowledge. I wouldn't want to go to an underground base. They're, as far as I know, they're just like underground torture centers, where they do all types of horrific things. So anyway, that's where we're at on that. So I don't know, some of these topics, like underground bases and the like, may get touched upon, or the Tartarian Empire. May get touched upon in the interview with Randy Maugans 2 days from now, or that's when the interview will take place. I'm guessing there's going to be his version, a version for his show, and there'll definitely be a version for my show. And so there's, Randy Maugans is somebody who's a luminary in our truther community. Somewhat of a controversial figure, I think. I think anyone who gets that super soldier label put on them will be somewhat controversial, just because like so many other conspiracies, we're not sure how real these things are, but there's been military programs where they've tried to augment people and make this is where the whole idea of Captain America comes from. And I've had John Storm on my show. He's a very believable young man. John Storm. I think John Storm knows Randy Maugans. I'm not 100% sure of that. I know that John Storm knows Duncan O'Finian. And Duncan O'Finian is another one of these men who's a warrior and a badass who has been, given this label, which he refutes, of super soldier, and apparently he's done some dirt, for this country, or for whoever these clandestine groups are. He's done some wicked shit. And Duncan O'Finian, he's quite a character. I've talked to him on the phone more than once, so we're still standing by to hear from him. I want to interview Duncan O'Finian. He doesn't really want to do it on Skype, how I do most of these. He wants me to come down there to Houston and have a beer with him. Hell, I'm all about it. Duncan, I accept your invitation, man. Let's set up a date. I'll come down there, have a beer with you. We'll chit chat. You can blow my mind with some of your information. If you're giving out information at this time, hell, you might even show me a couple moves in your dojo, huh? I mean, God dang, this Duncan O'Finian, he's got hands like lightning, man. I mean, these guys aren't no joke, huh? These guys are not any joke. Which brings me to my next subject when it comes to super soldiers. Super soldiers. Yeah, let me tell you about this guy. Ooh. All right. All right. All right. All right. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. The next person I'm going to tell you about is a super soldier. I've never seen anyone suggest that this man was not a super soldier, although he does not like the term super soldier either. And And he is a dashing and good-looking young man named John Urwin. John Urwin, and John Urwin wrote this book right here. Okay, it's called "The 16 One Step Beyond. The Secrets Were in Jaraba." John Urwin was doing special ops back in World War II. Okay, so he's got some experience. And this book right here, it started off a little bit slow. I purchased this book from John Urwin personally, and he's autographed it for me. Real nice book. John has been interviewed by Sean Stone, the filmmaker, motion picture filmmaker, and conspiracy theorist Sean Stone, who is, of course, the son of Oliver Stone. And so this guy's, come here, Gunter, come here, buddy. What's wrong? What's going on, buddy? You been a good boy? Oh.
Where's your key?
Oh, Gunter, you've been a little creature. You want to come see your daddy, don't you? Oh, you've been such a creature.
Can you hear me? Where's your key?
Oh, wait, hold on a second.
This is a little addendum here to the video. We're on the portion now where we're speaking about John Urwin, an enigmatic individual to say the least. John Urwin has the book, The 16 One Step Beyond, The Secrets Were in Jaraba. I highly recommend reading this book to anyone who's in the truther community who really wants to know what's going on. It's a fascinating book. It really is. It was dragging a little bit at first, and I was like, oh yeah, well, I don't know how good this book is going to be or whatever. But once you really get into the meat and potatoes, basically on page 79, with the chapter called The Initiation, and then the subsequent chapter, The Machine, you start learning what this book is really about. And it's about a fighting and combat system that's unlike anything that I've ever even heard of. And it's maybe some alien-based deal. We really don't know. Miles Johnston may or may not have had a falling out with John Urwin. John Urwin has some type of agenda. It's kind of hard to tell exactly what's going on with it. John Urwin contacted me personally after I released some letters from prison that James Casbolt wanted basically to go to Miles Johnston, and it went through some other people. And anyway, I was given the opportunity to publish these letters on the internet, which is what James Casbolt wanted. Nobody else kind of really wanted to touch it because it was a hot potato, a really hot potato. But I'm the hot potato guy, and so it ended up in my hands, and I did make a couple of videos, and I published these videos, I published these letters. John Urwin contacted me and kind of lamented the fact that I had done this, saying that, James Casbolt should not have done that, that it was bad for his interests and stuff like this. Yet he did not ask me to take down the videos. I recorded this this interview of me and John Urwin talking, and I published that as a video. Now, John, kind of without his permission, and John Urwin did contact me, and he asked me to take that video down, and I did do that immediately, as per his wishes. And so that might have garnered some favor with him, for me, that I was cooperative like that. And so subsequently, I ended up on a couple of months ago, or maybe 2.5 months ago, on the Christine JoAnna Hart Show as kind of a side guest, with the main guest being John Urwin. And, learned a few things about John even more in this interview. He's an outspoken man. He is an opinionated man. He is a trained killer who has worked for these secret agencies within the British government. And he was, doing this agency work back in World War II. So he's a young man, but he's not a young man. Let me just put it like that. And he's a very serious guy. I definitely would not fuck with him at all. Okay. He's very seasoned. He's experienced. He's a mercenary, or was a mercenary, and on top of that, he has
fluent in this fighting system, which is the most bizarre thing I've ever come across. And I don't know the specifics of it because obviously he doesn't give away the secrets to Jaraba or whatever. He doesn't give away the secrets to his fighting system in the book, or he hasn't yet. I have not finished the book. I do recommend you get the book. I recommend you buy the book. I recommend you read the book. One of the most fascinating aspects of it is that his initial training on this fighting system, which apparently took place over 4 days, he was completely unconscious of. In other words, he was put under hypnosis, not necessarily against his will, but without kind of knowing. And he was in a trance when he learned all this stuff. In other words, it's textbook, for lack of a better word, mind control. Okay, so if there's any truth to what John's saying and in his book, and I have very good reason to believe that it is true, everything that he's saying, then he has, been through a top, level, top-notch type of super soldier program with some very bizarre fighting styles, unarmed type of combat where one man can, defeat 6, 7, or 8 men. I mean, it's wild. Positioning bodies, doing all this crazy stuff. I don't understand it. It's not orthodox in that it doesn't use punches or kicks, I don't believe. There's some secret little weapons to it, but they're not like laser guns or anything like that. They're like a sash and some other stuff. There's a lot of heavy psychological aspect to the fighting system. Anyway, it's called the machine. It's something that's ingrained in the brain or the mind of the operator through, as far as I can tell, is essentially some type of trauma-based mind control. Okay. Miles Johnston may or may not have had a falling out with John Urwin, who may not have had a falling out with Sean Stone, who may or may not have not, had a falling out with. It just, it's a kind of convoluted story. Not sure exactly what's going on, but the book is fascinating. I'm right now giving my endorsement of the book. I encourage anyone to buy it and to read it. I'm not being paid for this endorsement. I'm not garnering any favor with John Urwin. My opinion about the man is actually still kind of up in the air. But I'm not going to take this video down. This is my critique of the book, and it's a book that's out there in the public domain, and so nobody can say anything about me, talking about it. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is just for you, the listener, and the truther community to know that this book it's a book of interest. Just like sometimes we see on TV, they have this person of interest. This is a book of interest. It's an interesting book. Very fucking interesting. And there's, some secret society aspects to it. I'm told that later in the book or something like this, that there's more descriptions of an officer that John Urwin and takes some personal instruction from, who has extremely pale skin, almost to the point of being non-human, or maybe specifically and purposely on that point of not being human. And so it brings out the memories, or the ideas of Charles, that man that was in the army, and he was interacting with the tall grays. No, not the tall grays, the tall whites. The tall whites. That's a booby trap there, right there. I don't think that John's book is a booby trap, but he's got some strong opinions on stuff in the truther community. Some people feel like he's being controlled. I don't know. I haven't seen any indications of that. He wrote a hell of a good book, that's for sure. He fucked some people up a long time ago, killed a bunch of people for the government that he was working for. I recommend it. I'd recommend the book. I'm fixing to pick it up and start reading it again. It's an interesting book. One of the more interesting books to come along in the truther community in recent years. You know, hence the reason why there's been people interested in it. It's got some genuine knowledge of, I'm not sure what, off-world things, of occult fighting systems. You know, it's a trip. That's really all I've got to say about that. This is going to conclude another exciting episode of You Don't Know. You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do, because then something bad might happen to you. And I'm talking to you.